Coming up on this episode of The Power of Real Estate.
A great quote by the late Walter Payton, famous running back for the Chicago Bears. He said this, he said, when you're good at something, you tell others. But when you're great at something, others tell you.
Hey, Michelle, are you ready?
Let's rock and roll, Jimmy.
Are you okay?
I just tried something new.
She spent over 20 years as a successful realtor and realtor coach, recipient of over 40 sales, leadership, and literary awards from the legendary Music Row in Nashville. This is The Power of Real Estate with Michelle Moore.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's The Power of Real Estate with Michelle Moore. I'm here in the studio with, Mr. Extraordinaire Adonis Lenzy. He is an author, he is a speaker, he's a teacher, he's a pastor, you name it, he's the man. Hello, I want to say Pastor Adonis.
Look at you.
Hello, but Adonis Lenzy is in the studio with us. Thank you for coming in today.
Yes, always a pleasure to be with you, Michelle, hanging out with you guys. And so thanks for inviting me back out.
Yeah, and one of the things I failed to mention is Adonis is an instructor with my school. I'm excited about that. I have a real estate school for Tennessee. So he's an instructor now with us, and we're excited to have him. He's teaching real estate agents some CE credit classes about how to, run their business like a business.
Yeah,
that's always
I'm excited about that as well.
So you're bringing your knowledge today for us. So, today we're going to be talking about maximizing your uniqueness. And so this is so good. Adonis, the thing about you is you really understand people and business. And, of course, you've bought and sold real estate, but you've never been a real estate agent. And it's so great to hear sometimes some of the things you say because it's so in line with so many things that are not necessarily taught to real estate agents. And so I always talk about the power of differentiation.
Yeah, that's huge.
Or the law of differentiation. But also it is known as your USP, your unique selling proposition. This is so much needed across the board in the real estate industry, in my opinion, because think about it, even you as a consumer, most people see real estate agents kind of like a dime a dozen.
Exactly.
We're all about the same.
Yep.
It's all gray.
Yeah.
No one who really stands out. And so I coach and teach that in my RESP course, which is my national designation class. We talk about the law of differentiation, and we go through some worksheets about how to kind of drill down to how you're different. And so this is fantastic. So today you're bringing us 3 examples of maximizing your uniqueness, and I can't wait to hear those. And so because, that unique selling proposition, it's like, okay, what are you bringing to the table differently? What are you doing differently? What about you is going to be different? And so I think that's important because I think a lot of real estate agents kind of just do the same old, same old. Yeah.
And that's the thing, or they copy somebody else or what somebody else is doing, and they haven't proven that. And so I tell people, you got to start by finding out what is your lane. What are you good at? A great quote by the late Walter Payton, famous running back for the Chicago Bears. He said this, he said, when you're good at something, you tell others. But when you're great at something, others tell you.
Yeah. So
I tell people you have to listen and get feedback of what people are saying about you, maybe your skill set, or just they've noticed a habit that they could say, man, you're always smiling. You just come into the office and you bring so much joy to everybody else. Well, that's something you need to hold on to because that could be a unique selling point for you that you can bring to the table, that you help people feel joyful. Okay, what customer out there doesn't want to experience a joyful time when they're selling or buying property or whatever that is? And so you've got to begin to listen to what other people are saying to get you that feedback so you can develop your lane and stay in it.
That's so good. So Adonis has brought us 3 examples today when it comes to maximizing your uniqueness. So Adonis, what's number 1?
Well, the first thing is you sitting down. A lot of people are afraid to brag on themselves, but you've got to begin to give yourself some props. Figure out what is it, that one thing that you do well. And it could be an example of you follow up like crazy. There's a young lady on my team. She's just good at following up. I'm not good at following up, Michelle. She's great. She's great at following up. She's got the personality for it. And so that is something that you need to make sure that you're bringing to the table at all times, because your personality, God's gifted you with that personality to where you're not afraid of rejection.
That's right.
Yes. And it's like, use that to your strength.
Yeah.
Follow up. People love it when you follow up. A lot of people that are not, they don't have that personality bent to do that, they're afraid of the rejection. Oh, I don't want to bother them. But you know what? People that are good at it, they know how to get around that, and you're good at it. And so put that down as one of your unique points that you can bring to the table, but then do that in such a way to where you're not just always following up about the deal. Maybe you've learned something about that client's family. Hey, how did Johnny do on his baseball team today?
That's
Boom,
right.
That is huge.
Yeah.
You followed
Building
up,
rapport.
and you're building that rapport with somebody.
Yeah, and really following up. How's that going to help the client? And so bring it in there with that, that whole what's in it for me for the client. And one of the biggest ways is I'm going to follow up after your home shows with the real estate agents that show it. So that way I can find out what were the thoughts, what's the feedback, because there may be something that the buying public is saying about the home that we've missed or we didn't think of, or we think it's not a big deal, but really is a big deal. And so that valuable follow-up can help you in many different ways. There's been times where I've been able to follow up with somebody who showed the home and they were interested, and I had a brand new home that was listed, and I'm able to say, hey, well, what about this? What about me setting up a meeting for you and your buyers with myself and my builder, the builder that built the home. And that way you can ask any questions and we can kind of dispel any of these issues or whatever. And let's just go over the home together. And what that does is gives the opportunity to be able to actually build value.
Yes.
And that way you don't deal with a low offer either. But that's a point, it's like, but by following up and saying, hey, let me see what I can do to, help you sell your home. Instead of being reactive, it's being proactive
Exactly.
as well.
Exactly.
And how many times have you called someone or someone's called you and you've said, thank you, I'll do this, where I'll say, especially a sales rep, because I know what they're doing. I'll say, thank you for your follow-up.
Exactly.
Because especially if it's something like, oh, I'm so glad to hear from you. I will make it easy on them even,
Yes, that is so key, being, I also have a TV show, Michelle, that, and I get a lot of people that watch it from around the country, and they're calling me because they want me to be on their show their network as well, and they follow up like crazy, and I have the most wonderful conversations with them, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I know this is probably hard for them. They followed up 3 times, and I'm still not getting an answer.
All right, so we're talking with Adonis Lenzy, 3 examples for maximizing your uniqueness. We just talked about the first one. Adonis, what is number 2?
My hope is that, anybody that is doing business with maybe a first-time home buyer or just somebody, out there selling or buying property, is that agent would have a high level of integrity about themselves. That is so key. I think that needs to be one of the things that keep you in your lane is integrity. And so, because every now and then you may come up against what I call integrity conflict, to where I believe one of the worst things you can do is to avoid something or
even compromise
something just for the sale of something.
Yes.
And I call that integrity conflict. And the way you can maximize that is still hold true to your value of integrity, because that client will appreciate that, and you as an agent will be able to sleep at night and appreciate that as well when you hold true to your integrity. So I would hope that would be in somebody's just a high level of integrity. I think that is something that the world needs more of. Mm-hmm. So I think integrity is still a unique factor because you don't see it a lot, Michelle.
Yeah. I just had a conversation. I think it was actually producer Jimmy over the weekend. And I said, I could do, he asked me about something, and I said, yeah, we could do that, but it doesn't seem right. It doesn't feel good, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And it was there was a little bit of a gray area when you say, he's nodding his head yes. And so it was a little bit of a gray area maybe, and he immediately got what I was saying, and it was like, I could do it. I could justify it maybe even, but no one would know but me and Jimmy, but producer Jimmy, but you know what? No, because it doesn't feel right. It doesn't seem right. It seems a little bit shady. And if it just even seems a little bit shady to me, then the answer is no.
Yeah, and I think what you do is, that's a slippery slope, because you could do it one time and like, okay, nobody found out, it's all good, but then that builds a habit.
Yeah.
And then pretty soon you're doing it 10 times.
That's right.
And then pretty soon that catches back up with you, and it builds a stigma about yourself. So I tell people, man, do whatever you can do to hold on to that integrity, and don't be afraid to bring your integrity to the table. Even if you're dealing with a non-integrous client, you hold true to your integrity.
Or fellow realtor.
Or fellow realtor.
All right, so we got Adonis Lenzy here in the studio with us. We're talking about maximizing your uniqueness. He's brought in 3 examples for for us. We just covered the second one. Adonis, what's number 3?
Here's a big one. This is the closure right here. I tell people all the time, especially dealing with real estate agents, be committed beyond the sale.
Yes.
And you've got to figure out ways that, to where, you're just not shaking a hand, or you're not showing up, show up at the closing and just, here's a gift for you. And be committed beyond that sale. Put something down on your calendar where you're still checking up on that person, especially if they're a first-time home buyer. They may deal with buyer's remorse, whatever that is. You want to stay in their world.
That's right.
And you be a committed real estate agent to them, to where, pretty soon you're not just an agent, you're their friend.
Yes, that's right.
And it's like, oh, man, my friend took care of me. Still 6 months later, after the close of this house, he's still checking up on me, giving me tips or checking up on the house, things like that. And so now when I get ready to refer somebody, I'm not referring my agent, I'm referring my friend. Yeah,
what's the saying? People don't know how much, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
I just got this text. You can see it was yesterday at 9:49 in the morning, and it says, "Thank you for your awesome card." So I had some people that I sold a home to 5 years ago.
See? Yeah.
And it was their 5-year anniversary. I don't know if they knew, but it said, "Means so very much, professionalism at its best." And so that, and then his wife had sent me a text the night before at like 10 o'clock at night. They'd just gotten home from a trip, but I sent them a gift basket. They have 3 kids, and sent them a couple dozen cookies and a card from Send Out Cards. So I downloaded some photos of their family there at their home, and while they've been living there, they've gotten a dog, and there's just a lot of things that change in 5 years. I don't know if they knew that it was their 5-year anniversary, but I did. But I sent them that card and even made a comment about how hard it was to figure out which photos to use because they're such a good-looking family. So, man, got such cute kids. But that's the point right there.
Yeah.
You want to wow people. I tell people that makes people unstealable.
Exactly.
And
they're committed to you.
Yeah, they're raving fans.
Committed. Yes.
Yeah, they're raving fans anyways, and have sent me many referrals. But I don't even work that side of the business. I really do the coaching and the speaking and the teaching and the writing and all of that. But still, those are people.
But that's your commitment beyond the sale.
That's right.
That you're not even in that vein anymore.
That's right.
But it's like, hey, wait a minute. I'm still committed.
That's right.
Beyond the sale, and that's something unique that you're bringing to the table that person is remembering. It's standing out above the noise and the crowd of agents that are all around there. It's like, okay, Michelle sent me a card 5 years later.
5-year anniversary.
Yes.
And I was very aware of it. And so, but I track that and I send that. And so, and they get Christmas gifts and that kind of stuff because I've got a raving, and they get Valentine's Day presents. But that, because they are the raving fan. And there's just some people, no matter what I'm doing, when they call and say, look, we're ready to sell, we're ready to buy, they'd look at you like you lost your mind if you told them that, I'm going to refer you to someone else. Because they're like, no, you're our realtor and you're going to take care of us. And so it's like the family and the friends. The people that you like what you said.
Exactly.
There's just some people you're going to drop and go running for.
Yep.
And say, well, okay, I'm going to make time to take care of you.
Yeah.
So anyways, we appreciate you. Adonis, if somebody wants to reach out to you, watch your TV show, all that kind of stuff, how do they touch base with you?
They can just go to my website, adonislenzy.com. That's ADONIS, Lenzy, LENZY.com.
All right. We'll see you next time right here on The Power of Real Estate with Michelle Moore.
Realtors, if you're ready to jumpstart your business, Michelle has your realtor coaching covered at realestatecoachingsimplified.com. Everything from coaching online teachings to in-person programs. Join us next time for The Power of Real Estate with Michelle Moore.